Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Isadora. I am the program manager at Amsterdam Tech, and I'll be hosting today's Q&A. So today is the second episode of our Tech Mind series webinar, and our guest today is Sarah Pellegrini. Sarah is currently contributing her expertise in software engineering at Particular Software, and her deep understanding of distributed systems, coupled with her innovative mindset, makes her a valuable resource in the tech community. So we're excited to have her today to share her insight and her experiences. So welcome.
Hi,
Okay.
Isadora.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for the kind introduction.
Of course. Okay, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about critical thinking for software engineers. So my first question to you is, how do critical thinking skills contribute to the effectiveness of software engineers in problem solving to avoid jumping to solutions quickly?
Yes, so critical thinking is super important for software engineers, especially because, as you said, it helps them really understanding the problem before jumping to solutions. So often there is a tendency to rush immediately into technical solution without sometimes fully understanding, right, the problem's natures. And it's very important, on the contrary, to completely understand what we are trying to solve. And this involves asking why repeatedly, right? To peel back the layers of the symptoms and to get to the root cause of an issue. And there are some individuals that are pretty good doing this, that are kids, right? They do this naturally. They repeatedly ask why. But as adults, for some reason, we often lose this skill, this ability. And it is exactly by reviving this habit that we can dig deeper into problems rather than settling for superficial answers. And not only critical thinking is also crucial because our job isn't about following a predefined recipe with fixed ingredients. So there is no universal solution. There is no the right architecture, the right tool, or the perfect programming language, and every situation is unique. So what works well in one context might not work well in another context. As we need to tailor our solution, right, to the specific context and problem that we are going to solve. And this requires a deep understanding of various factors, such as the business problem we are implementing, the non-functional requirements that our system needs to support, like scalability, performance, but also the team's composition, right, the members of the team, the skill they have, the available budget, the legacy system we need to interact with, a lot of things that we need to consider. So training ourselves to consider all these variables, right, to develop a methodological approach that help us to make decisions. This is what we need to be good software engineer, and this involves continuous practice and improvement.
Yeah, I guess the more you practice, the better it is. The best you remember to do it continuously. So my second question is, how can software engineers develop and apply these critical thinking skills in their daily work?
Yes. So it is. There are several things that a software engineer can do, right? So first of all, start by clearly defining the problem you are trying to solve, to completely understand it. You can use technique like the 5 whys to get the root cause, and to carefully evaluate all available information and the sources of this information to try to reframe the problem description and to ensure that you are not jumping into the solution prematurely. So just try to write to describe the problem without moving into the solution space. And this step is crucial for all the steps that comes later, right? It's the foundation for all the step that comes later. So analyzing sources is very important, as we said. So critically assess the information you have, look at the data, at the user feedback, and the technical documentation, try to validate the reliability of your sources and cross-check the facts. This is very important to avoid and to prevent misunderstanding that can create problems later. Also, don't be afraid of thinking outside the box. Evaluate alternative solutions that go beyond conventional ones. And this is sometimes difficult because it's not easy, right, to express an idea that can seem strange or extravagant. So don't be judgy when a colleague share diverging idea. On the opposite, we should always encourage a culture where unconventional ideas are welcome and explored. And then to achieve this, it's important to promote a safe environment, a safe work environment where team members feel comfortable expressing any opinion without fear of judgment. Also, very important, as I said, to tailor the solution to fit the specific context in which you are working. So everything depends. Everything is about the context. So we must accept the fact that there is no silver bullet, nothing that you can use for everything, right? So no solution is able to fit all the situation. And this is very important because we must consider to select to make our technical choice in a way that it's unique for any project and it fits the unique constraint and needs for that project. And this is not only important to be more effective, but also to be sustainable, because we need to think about solutions that are sustainable. Another super important aspect is feedback. So feedback is a really fundamental component of critical thinking. Not only allows us to refine our decision and strategies continuously, right? Frequent microfeedback, especially, are valuable because they enable to incrementally improve your behavior, your strategy, your solution, preventing the needs of a major disruptive change that maybe is too late to implement, right? So it's important to be proactive, giving but also receiving feedback. That is not always easy, right? Because it's hard. Yeah. And but you can create a situation for that. It can happen in one-on-one or in retrospectives or through customer feedback, right? Through customer satisfaction meters or any other project-specific metrics that you decide to use. But continuous feedbacks really helps you to stay on track and to make the necessary real-time adjustment. In essence, the point here is to slow down, to prioritize the slow analytical thinking over quick and reactive thinking. And this is very challenging because our brain is really trying to find a quick solution to save energy. So it's nature, right? And however, rushing to conclusion often leads to results that are not so good. So by slowing down and doing a more deep analysis, we can make more informed and effective decisions. And also, it is difficult because it's sometimes in contrast, right, with the culture that favors speed and efficiency over effectiveness. So it's crucial to rein our impulse to start coding immediately and instead focus on understanding problems deeply.
Yeah, I think this is also like applicable to other jobs, like not jumping to solutions prematurely, and like feedback is very important. Even if you're not working in teams, it's important to look at yourself and what you're doing and think critically and feedback like to your own self, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And then how can we communicate to like the new generation of aspiring software engineers that their roles are not confined to boundaries, so it's going beyond writing the code? So like feedback and thinking critically is just not just writing code.
Absolutely. It's our role in the industry goes far beyond just writing code or build complex systems. So we are here to analyze problems and to find the best solution. And many times these not even involve technology. So if it even involves technology, is incidental, right? So in our career, we will encounter many issues that requires business solution rather than technological one. I mean, we must be prepared for this as well, right? So the new generation should see themselves as a solver of complex problem. And this means they need to be skilled at identify the problem, first of all, right? So spending adequate time to do this initial step, because a perfect solution to the wrong problem is useless. It's far better to have an imperfect solution to the right one. And additionally, a good engineer must be adept at evaluating the factor influencing decision, as we said, right? So user needs, system constraint, available resources. So identifying the right way to solve the problem in a discovery process, it's a difficult thing to manage, right? And mastering this process is one of the most critical critical skill that a software engineer can develop. As we said, also in relation to feedback, right? Collaboration with colleagues and stakeholder is another vital aspect. And for this reason, we do not disregard, right, all these soft skills that could facilitate interaction and collaboration, right, constructive collaboration with others. They are really essential, these skills, as much as the technical skill. So they are super important, in my opinion. So working together help us to better understand not only needs and context, but most importantly, is effective for validating and empowering our own thoughts, because collaborating with others forces us to deeply understand our own idea, because we need to explain them clearly to others, right?
Yeah.
And our job is fundamentally a team effort. So there is no complex system that is built by one person, right? So it's very important to be able to collaborate with others. And also, this process helps eliminate individual cognitive bias and to evolve our ideas thanks to the contribution from others. Having diversity in terms of team members is very important for especially for stimulating thinking outside the box, because including people that have different experience, different genders, different background, different age really helps analyze problems from multiple perspectives, and having fresh view, more experienced view, it's super important. And this kind of environment are the ones where there are continuous improvement and innovation. And promoting a culture that values this diversity, so the possibility to have diverse perspective, and always encourage questioning and critical thinking is very important. So that is something that it's very important when you are in a working environment, to select the correct work environment and to promote its value, because this really clarify that our role is not just follow orders or stick to the specific of your job description, right? But is proactively contributing to problem solving and innovation. And feel free to do that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people might see software engineers like lonely coding alone, but it's important to work in teams, and also important to have those soft skills, like to explain your solution, like to a non-technical person, maybe a stakeholder. You need to like sell your idea or your solution.
Absolutely. You need to put yourself in a position to be understood, and not to ask for non-technical people to understand technical term or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty important. Yeah.
And then I think my last question would be, how did you develop your programming skills over time from one project to the other?
So my personal journey was a lucky one, because it was very gradual and continuous. So every project brought me new challenges and learning opportunities, most of all. So I can share what worked for me but it's not universal. So maybe it worked for others. I don't know, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, for me, it was very important to learn from mistake. Right, every failure is a lesson. Embrace failures as opportunity to grow and improve. Right, by analyzing what didn't work and especially why it didn't work, and try to avoid making the same mistake in the future. And to be honest, I believe that the education system has great responsibility in this, since it sometimes not always doing the right thing, in my opinion, because it should teach to the new generation not to fear mistakes, not to try to hide them,
Mm-hmm.
and to avoid or to see them as something to be punished for, right? On the contrary, the
Mm-hmm.
new generation should be teach to make their mistake explicit and manifest, because it's exactly this where continuous improvement comes from, right? So not be
Yeah.
afraid of this. Then be curious is another thing that helped me during time evolving my development skill, because I'm naturally curious. I always strive to learn new things. I read books and articles, attend conferences, or take courses to stay up to date. I believe that continuous learning helped me stay ahead with this world, right? That is evolving
Yeah.
so rapidly that sometimes overwhelming, yeah, but it's also important to stay up to date. Also, collaborate with others as much as possible. So, engage with more experienced colleagues or those with different skill. Uh,
Mm.
it has always enriched my knowledge a lot, and I believe really in the value of spending time with people smarter than me to improve continuously. So, collaboration really help to open your mind, right, and to see other perspective and to enrich your problem solving abilities. Also, don't be afraid to experiment. So every attempt is a chance to grow, and you can I know that sometimes is scary, right? You can really limit the risk by
Mm-hmm.
doing a small experiment rather than big bets. So something that you can evaluate in short time, so it's not
Mm-hmm.
something too risky. So this iterative approach allows you to test and learn quickly, making the adjustment that you need without taking major risks.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, don't be afraid to think outside the box and to express ideas that are diverging, right? And
Yeah.
for doing that, when you're looking for a working environment, just try to look for something that encourage and respect diversity and the free expression of any opinion without any judgment. So it's not always easy, but
Yeah.
important. I believe that critical thinking is probably the most fundamental,
Yeah.
right, for software engineers. And
Yeah.
it requires practice, effort, but it's worth it at the end.
Yeah. And I think everything you mentioned now also goes back to critical thinking. So
Yeah,
like when you failed at something, you need to have that critical thinking to see like what went wrong so you could do better next time or learn from your mistakes. So it's
yeah,
important as well. Yeah.
absolutely.
So thank you so much for coming and talking and answering my questions.
Oh, it
Um,
was a pleasure.
thank you, and we'll keep everything in mind.
Yep.
um,
If I can add one last thing that I believe that
yeah.
could be beneficial,
Mhm.
many times I notice that the limits are more in our head than in the real world. So also be brave, because sometimes we just need the courage to take the first step in something new, to realize that nothing is impossible, and building this confidence is hard and require practice and the willingness to step out our comfort zone. But I strongly believe that it leads to great professional and also personal satisfaction in life.
Yeah. And also like start from step one instead of already wanting to jump to step five.
Absolutely.
I think it's also important.
Absolutely.
Okay, then thank you so much
Thank you,
and have a
Silvana.
nice evening. Thank you everyone for coming and we'll see each other later. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.